And a special good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much, folks, for joining me today on Viewpoint. My name is Wendell Moore. I'm here with my guests until the 1 o'clock hour. That's when we turn things over to the newsroom, and you can catch up with what is trending as far as news is concerned. But it's always good to have you. And may I just remind you, folks, that not only this program, but life itself is around many different phases. I know one of the excitement that is often generated and sparked when it's time for Viewpoint is often along political lines. But please, there is much more to life. There's much more to the type of information that is available for the general public than it is for politics. I know when it's time for that, then we deal with it. But today I'm here with Michel Chance. He is here from Student Support Services Division, and he's here to give us some information about an upcoming workshop for students who are aiming to further their studies by leaving St.Maarten and going elsewhere. Important information. As a matter of fact, some of it that you're going to hear today is different and is new information that makes it important for those who will be making use of this service that is offered by government to make sure that you're up to speed with what's going on. Hence, you need to know that the workshop would be on June 18th, which is today basically. And if you have not made plans just yet to be at the University of St.Maarten, because there are some important information for students who would, and also for their parents, who would be looking forward to traveling, especially for the United States and Canada. You really need to go and be brought up to speed. So with that said, let me say good afternoon to Michel, who is here with me. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to the show. Once again, always look forward to you coming in and sharing this information and updating us.
Good afternoon, Wendell. Good afternoon, radio listeners. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so usually you go through great length to make sure that people are brought up to speed. Students who are going away to study in many different phases, some of which is to prepare them as to what to expect so that they can be aware and probably brace themselves to function a little bit differently because they were pre-notified of what to expect. Now, this has to do with those persons who are going to the United States and Canada to study. What is new and important for them to know, and why it is important for them to come out this evening?
Okay. There's always new developments in regard to immigration and immigration matters and pertaining to students. This particular workshop is going to be delving into some of those areas. One of the areas, for example, is the visa integrity fee, a new $250 fee that is implemented by the U.S. Once you get your student visa.
That was never there before.
That was never there before.
Okay.
And of course, I mean, all the things that are supposed to be in place for it, as I understand, are not in place. So, of course, you're going to have to pay the fee, and you technically are supposed to be able to get it back, but we don't know yet how that's going to work.
Oh, and that is a Trump thing, or I don't know.
I mean, it's part of his administration, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So but then they need not worry about that for the moment. In order for them to be able to get in and get started.
No, they don't need not worry about that because that's after you get the student visas when you have to pay that.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are fees before too. Such as the service fee, which you have to pay $350, and then you have to pay the administrative fee. Basically, is $185 to basically make the appointment and go to Curacao. And still, you have to buy the ticket too. So there are a lot of costs attached to obtaining a student visa for the U.S. Canada is similar. I mean, so you have different fees. You have the biometrics fee, which is 85 Canadian, and you have the visa fee actually that you have to pay also.
And this was never done before, you see.
Yeah, it was done before. I mean,
On a
the
different
fees were there,
scale.
but the fees keep going up.
Yeah.
And people have to be aware that some of there are little changes in how things are done. Yeah, so people have to be aware.
Okay. So who you think should be our parents too as well, or
Parents can come, but again, as I said, it's geared at students, and especially students who have been accepted to schools in the U.S. and Canada, or those intending to go to the U.S. and Canada to study. Perhaps they're in their fifth form or fourth form, and they say, "Hey, after when I'm finished with my diploma, once I get my diploma here, I'm going to look to go to the U.S. or Canada." It's for them.
is there gonna come a time when we probably don't have to be sending away our students?
Um, again, that would only be possible if you have, for example, the university here really develops and put certain programs in place that cater to these students. But you're always going to find students who want to go because sometimes there's a variety, and some programs you can't because we don't have economies of scale too. You can't offer programs all the time, the same programs all the time. Like, for instance, what happens at NEPA sometimes, I don't know if it's changed now, but before they used to not offer nursing every year. So, that kind of method, I mean, it's like sometimes work, but again, as I said, we don't have economies of scale, so we have to see how that goes. Perhaps for me, say when we have an institution where we attract more international students also, then maybe we would have that kind of those kind of programs.
What about the I think this is an important undertaking. And students as well as parents need to understand what they are doing when it comes to using this method of completely giving their children an opportunity for a proper education. But do they understand really the scale of the importance of it, and what kind of success rate have you been seeing to wonder if to probably say that it is working and working well, because it's normal every year.
One of the things you have to understand, I mean, it's a success. Success is different for different people. But if you say graduation rates is something else. Now, you have scenarios where we have a fragmented education system, different streams,
Yes.
different levels, and of course, I mean, say everyone these days you find most students who want to continue their studies want to get a higher degree, and of course, there's always a cost attached to it. Like, for instance, if I the other day I had some people in by me, and I was explaining to them that if they go to Holland for MBO degree. MBO, if you go to a level 2 or level 3, it's 2 to 3 years, depending on what you do. And when you make the calculations, that could run you close to $80,000 or more.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
what I'm
not
getting
even
at.
equivalent. A level 2 or level 3 is not even equivalent to an associate degree. So you have to ask yourself, is that worthwhile? Why not focus, for example, on going and do the GED here and looking to go to do associate at the university here, or even once you finish the associate, you can go to the US and get a bachelor's within almost the same time span. Those are things, I mean, it's like
Options.
the individuals have to take into consideration, because you have a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to Holland. I'm going because you see the majority of students these days looking to go to the Netherlands, to study because they figured it's cheaper, but it's not necessarily cheaper. I mean, there's always a cost attached. And of course, I mean, it's like people have to understand this.
Yeah, especially parents
Parents,
who are going to be carrying most of the burden
yeah.
of the cost
It
for
means
one's education.
we need to save most of the burden. If they go to the Netherlands, for example, they can get monies from DUO. Okay, DUO is the Dutch funding agency. I mean, but there are certain monies that once they finish within the specified time becomes a grant. And other parts they have to pay back with interest. So they have to make the calculations and see, but the burden falls actually on the student. The parent doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that, But if they go to the states, I mean, say this similarly, I mean, say here they would have to apply for funding from the government of St.Maarten, and they would have to sign a contract, and there are terms and conditions that they have to abide by. Again to the parent, but we don't know because we say the burden. We don't know when they finish if the parent takes on that burden, or if they have a special fund or monies put aside to help repay whatever it is that the fees that they or the debt that they have accrued. So these are things that means like
Yeah.
always in a balance.
Yeah. And probably parents, both parents and students, have to sit down and have this kind of discussion at home, because this is
Yes.
an important undertaking.
Yes, and it's very important because I've found that many parents don't set up funds
Yeah.
for their children for their education later on in life. So that is the reason why I mean say they have to have a discussion.
Yeah.
In terms of because sometimes families have more than one child too.
Yep.
They have other children they have to take care. Sometimes they're close in ages where both sometimes two, three going to college around the same time. That becomes a real challenge.
Yeah. Do
You
you
know.
ever have to deal with a number in terms of those showing interest, and because of financial situations, it it diminishes, or at least it changes?
I've had cases like that. I mean, say because one of the things I mean, say if you go to certain schools, for example, in the U.S., I mean, say the fees can range from $35,000 to maybe up to $50,000, $60,000 or more. And when you look at a year, when you look at that, I mean, it's like in terms of it's a real challenge to pay those fees. You know.
Wow. So when you look at one's education, it's important that this becomes a household discussion.
Yes, very
Be-
much so.
because it's education is not easy, but
Yeah.
yet there are those who would still want to, I mean, go and get whatever education they feel is necessary. The sky is the limit, as a matter of fact.
You see,
But
and
it costs money.
yeah, and that's why sometimes you find when you go to the U.S., they have a lot of certain countries from Africa. They look at certain occupations like doctors, engineers, and those kind of professions because, again, too, those are the ones that, in terms of make back the money, that they can pay back their debt.
Yeah.
When you decide everybody go and study business, you can't have 10,000, 20,000 persons studying business, and what they're going to do after they finish. Some of them don't have a plan, and that's always problematic.
Yeah. So your workshop is basically along the line of helping them to know about the logistics and the step-by-step approach in order to make this a final.
Yes, this is the visa workshop and the visa and study permit workshop. This is the last one of the last hurdles
Okay.
that they have to go through, and it deals with immigration, and of course it means like they have to get the documentation right. And of course, it means they can fill in, like for instance, in the US, you have to fill in a number of forms. You have to make the schedule, and you have to travel to Curacao.
And it's important for them to know it here.
Yeah, and the same thing with Canada. Once you do the you follow the procedure, you fill in everything online. You still have to do biometrics. Biometrics is a scan of your face and your 10 fingers, and
Okay.
you will have to travel to one of the places where they do biometrics because we don't do it here. So that too, and also too knowing the difference. Some people want to you can go to Canada, for example, if you don't get certain documentation. You could do the biometric, but you need a response from the Canadian immigration authorities before you even go to Canada. Because if you go, you're gonna say, hey, listen, they don't give you your study permit.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is more geared towards those persons who probably don't have family uh, in these countries that they wish to
Yeah,
go,
not
because
necessarily families, because again, too, they have students who have gone away, maybe they're first generation, first college student of their family, and they've gone to different places. And of course, it means like, it's a process that all students who are international students have to go through.
And do they understand that they are going to be considered as international students, especially when it comes to...
Many of them do, but sometimes they come in. You find that students, they want to look for instance, funding, U.S. funding, and they see the funding on the college website, and so yeah, I'm going to apply for that, but they don't realize that's for U.S. citizens.
Yes.
So that is something that some persons realize early. Sometimes they get it's gradually realized.
And the area of study, does it bring a different experience, especially when it comes to time?
It all
depends on what you want to do.
It all depends on the individual. Like I tell students, I mean, it's like when they come in by me, if you go to the U.S. or Canada for a 4-year degree, there's a possibility that you could maybe spend 3 years there and get your degree too. But it's up to you. And what steps you take. For example, taking more classes during the semester, or taking summer classes, and that can cut your time down in terms of what you spend in the U.S. or Canada.
Yeah.
They have had cases where our students gone to the U.S. and took less than 12 credits. If you take less than 12 credits, you can put yourself in a compromising position, because again, according to the rules and regulations, you need to be a full-time student, and full-time students sometimes, for most universities, is 12 credits and up.
So this workshop then is more about preparations for travel and what.
Yeah, this is more preparation. This, as I said, this is for the final stage. We have a workshop in August, scheduled for August, that is basically running through what happens from the time you enter college to when you finish. What takes place in between that. So this one here is very important, because again, you're dealing with immigration authorities. In relation to that, you want to make sure that whatever information you fill in is filled in correctly. And one of the things that means like comes up now these days is the social media. They're asking, when you're filling in documents for your student visa, they ask you if your social media and which ones you have and all that. It's very important that you clean up. If you scrub, if you start in fourth form, fifth form, you start scrubbing your social media, and clean it up.
That can be a hindrance.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like I don't know of cases here in St.Maarten or of our students, but I know that it can have an impact.
And some people are so loose and careless with their social media.
Yeah. Some people think that, we as a society, when we look at it, we often joke about a lot of things, and some people have social media as a joke too.
Yeah.
And that can be problematic in itself, because I mean, if you see how things are being integrated now with AI and all that, to me, it's like we don't know what is to come. But again, you can read in between the lines.
And something else that may not mean too much on those persons who are busy on social media is repost, which may not be your idea, but the moment you repost it means you're aligning yourself with it.
That's correct. That is correct.
And that can be damaging.
That can be damaging, yes.
So how do you know what to scrub now?
Well, it's up to the individual to decide, huh? And then they look at it to me and say, because as you may not take it serious, but other people are going to take it serious.
I realize that they play a huge role now when it comes to people determining who they're dealing with.
Yeah. And they go and they go to the first thing, they go to social media and start looking. And in relation to AI, you can go and search on a person, anything that has published online on that person, you can find it.
Even if you scrub,
I told, like, for instance, years ago, I told my daughter posted something on one of her social media, and I told her to go and edit and clean it up, and she was all upset with me. But eventually she saw it, and me it's like, and I told her, me say, first thing, employer's you're gonna look and see, hey, you didn't take time to edit this thing properly, you have grammatical errors and what have you, and these are things that they look at and say, they put you to do their work, and then you would present something like this.
All right. So, let people know when this workshop is on because they don't have much time.
Yeah, this
They may
workshop
not
is
be
going to be
listening.
held tonight at the University of St. Maarten. It's free of charge. It's for students who have been accepted to schools in the U.S. and Canada who need to obtain a study permit or a student visa, and it also true for persons in the fourth and fifth forms who are interested in going to Canada and the U.S. to study, so they know what they need to do, and they can already start saving some money for the application process of their study permit or their student visas.
And you just mentioned that it costs a little bit more now
Yes,
than
for
what it
the
used to.
US student visa is going to cost a little bit more than before, and that person has to be mindful of that because again, as I said, it may change because if they, for instance, the visa integrity fee, for example, if they put the database in place and they reimburse people, but right now those certain things are not in place and they don't know how that system because it takes a number of years,
You think
and
it's gonna be? Yeah, you think it's gonna be upheld? The
I
reimbursing.
don't know. They have conditions that thing you can't, for example, you can't work, you can't, you have to leave
Yeah,
when your visa's up,
yeah.
and all these different things.
So
So
that would be warranted for them to give you back your
yeah,
money,
yeah,
if nothing else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll just have to see,
All right, folks. For those of you who are listening and are related to persons who would be traveling to the United States and Canada to further their studies, and they have not left as yet, this is an important workshop that would be held at the University of St. Maarten. It is handled by Student Support Services Division. Michel Chance is going to be there. You're one of the presenters, as
yes, I'm the
always.
presenter. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's important for people to come.
It is important. Normally, a lot of persons show up for this work, these type of workshops, because again, as I said, they don't want to run afoul or run in problems with immigration or hinder the process of getting their student visa or study permit.
And if nothing else, I mean, dealing with a Trump America, to be honest with you, things are very different.
It's very different, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you don't have all your I's dotted and T's crossed,
Yeah.
you can be easily embarrassed.
That is true.
And that you would rather not have to deal with.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. So this evening at the University of St. Maarten, it starts at what time, Mr. Chen?
It starts at 6 and it runs to 8, and I usually stay after and answer questions if
If needs be.
need be.
Okay.
So the person can approach me, and if they don't want to speak in during the session,
Yes.
they can approach me after.
All right. Let me take a break, and then when we come back, we'll continue to provide the information for those who are looking forward to going away to study, especially in Canada and the United States. Let's take a break and come back. Point for today. What is it? Thursday?
Thursday,
Wow,
June
we're
18th.
getting closer to the weekend. I'm here with Michel Chance. He's from Student Support Service Division, and he is informing persons interested or those who have already made contact in the United States with schools. They might be accepted as well. Now it's another leg of preparing yourself so that things can go smoothly, and that is what would be shared with these students at the university later this evening at 6 o'clock. That is to deal with your travel document and to make sure everything is up to speed. Most of the people who are showing interest for the United States and Canada, what can you say they are more often than not looking at why they have chosen the United States and Canada? What are the kind of careers that they may be looking at? And I wonder if some of these can be applicable back home when they have graduated and say come back to Simon.
You see, when they come to me, tell me, "Hey, I want to study law in the United States," I normally ask them, "Are you gonna practice law in the United States? Or if
Okay.
you study criminal justice in the United States, what are you gonna do with a criminal justice degree in St. Martin?" I usually ask them that,
Okay.
and I want them to figure it out because I can tell them, the reality is, it's like sometimes they have this this grandiose idea about what career occupation they want to go into, but they don't look at the nitty gritties of it. You know, and even things like business.
Yeah.
Sometimes I mean,
Bus-
some
that,
people,
that's a popular one,
yeah,
I would say.
they go and study business and they don't have an idea what they're gonna do with it. When they come back, I mean, they had to remember the guy who came back and studied. It was working security, and his father called.
Yes, yes.
These are things. I mean, it's like they have career centers at the school too.
Yeah.
Can help students figure out what to do and how they're gonna go about doing things. But they have to think it through before they
Yeah.
even sometimes leave.
Can 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 you consider that somewhat of confusing oneself or making a mess or
No, no, no. It's
if
it is it's good to one of the things. I mean, it's like it's good to seek an education and to want to be educated, but you have to know what you're going to do with it. Which field? Because for example, I could study business and I say, hey, listen, I don't want to work in a regular business field. I'm going to go into healthcare, or I'm going to go into the marine sector. With a business degree.
okay.
But of course, means how you're going to do that. That's always the challenge.
Do you get the feeling that these youngsters that are wanting to go away and study is that they have St. Maarten in mind?
Sometimes they don't. Many of them may not have St. Maarten in mind when they're doing that. But I usually ask them, you know, because if you don't, I mean, for example, if you're getting funding from St. Maarten, you're supposed to know what you're going to do with it when you come back and how you're going to contribute to society.
Yeah.
Because it would be unfair for St. Maarten to fund a person to go away to study and then they enrich or make someone else's society better than ours.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that happens a lot.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
you know. But you look at the two. I mean, say two, opportunities. Sometimes people have to create their own opportunities here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to carry you in a place where you can make no difference, but at least still want to identify some of the realities
Yeah.
around one properly developing up themselves
Yeah.
and furthering their education. That is an area that I'm sure is not ever talked about where, like you said, what are you going to do with what you desire to study?
Yeah.
Because some of it can be applied here. And one of the things, too, if you're going to become, a certain level, let's say a master's in a particular thing, you got to have the plan to have your own business because
Not only have your own business again. It's a more one of the things. I mean, if you look at it, Wendell, most persons who go and get a master's degree, for example, in the U.S., most of them are already working, and sometimes they use the what they're doing already to build on.
working in the U.S. You
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Here in St. Maarten, sometimes I mean, say if you to go and get a master's, a lot of people are doing it online, and it all depends on the individual. But you're not gonna go out and do and get a degree just for getting a degree's sake, unless it's for your own self enrichment, but you want to do something with it. You always have that idea that it's something you want to do with it and make a difference. And it's an individual choice.
I could imagine, but a large percentage of them often are not even depending on what they want to study
Yeah.
and are thinking about being able to apply it here.
Yeah, but
And then
sometimes.
we lose all those human resource to other countries.
Yeah, sometimes you look at people too. So you go to the work and say, "Oh, I had the opportunity to go and do this, but they didn't," and that's always the case too. So when individuals are choosing, because we have, for instance, brochures on how to choose a career and study too. Because we go through that, and that's the reason why when they come to me and tell me, "Hey, I want to do so and so and so," I ask them, "What you gonna do in St. Maarten with it?" And I want to be real, want to see how grounded they are.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because again, as I said, this is where what makes a difference. We have I mean, I know people out there who have PhDs. I mean, it's like in all these different degrees, but they're outside working in different environments, and that's their choice too.
Yeah.
But that originally you look at it, that's not necessarily the intention, though.
Yeah. if someone wants to study political science or government administration, that wouldn't be one that would show interest to wanting to go to the United States or Canada to study.
Political science, you could go anywhere. You know, you look at it. You can look at it to me. It's like if you say governmental structures,
Yes.
that's a little different.
Okay.
You know, political science to me is like you can do comparative studies.
Researches,
Yeah.
yes.
You
That's
know.
basically what that part really is, because you're dealing with people.
Yeah, we deal with people.
But
And,
but government administration, our system is very different
yeah,
than
different, yes, and of course, me it's like most people might gravitate to the Netherlands, but there are people who have studied. You know, once you understand how government structures work,
works.
you know, you can do analysis of St.Maarten. You can integrate yourself too. You know,
Okay.
it is not something foreign. You know, because that is what they're taught to understand systems and to see how they work.
And do you get much people who have interest in that area?
I haven't had any in a while.
Yeah.
You know, and when I
So-
and even that, I mean, it's like, you know, we have a program called Aim High where we go into the elementary schools and we talk to elementary school students about careers and occupations. And when you mention certain careers, certain occupations, they're like,
They
you
wanna
know,
do with
sometimes
that.
they put up their hand. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, when you tell them, hey, if you want to be a politician, it's recommended that you go and study political science and try to advance yourself instead of just you know, going into the political field blind. You know, because some people here in St. Maarten, if you look at it, you can be elected. You can go into to politics and be elected without having a degree or anything of the sort. I mean, so then you have to rely on others and also to your knowledge too.
Looking at
Basic
our
knowledge.
students and looking at them as possible resources for the future, what would you recommend as student support services for persons who maybe want to go into, let's say, like in the field of police and coast guards and these kind of different areas where we definitely need people to man these areas? Is there a study that they would have to be interested in?
When I say police or coast guard, I mean, it's like they have different routes they can go to. But typically, they're here in St. Maarten, you would go to the police station and get the forms and stuff and go through that process. And the same with the coast guard, you go to apply online and they, you know, once they screen you and go through the whole process. and
But
stuff.
obviously, that won't
Yeah.
be people who are going to the United States and,
No,
and
no,
to
that's a little
study.
different.
That's very
know.
different batch of students.
Yeah. But we also have, for instance, a number of you know, occupations. For instance, machinists. You know, some of the trades. You know, we need these people. You know, and yesterday I was at this Emerson Marine Emerson program that they had, and you get it's eye opening to see. I mean, it's like, you know, opportunities, but our people need to be made aware of them, and willing to take advantage of these opportunities.
Most of these students who you're going to be providing this information to, are they largely funding themselves, or any of them is
Most of them, you know,
dependent
what you
on
will
government?
find, especially for the U.S. or Canada, they will be getting funding from the government. You know, and of course, I mean, so they have met all the criteria for
Okay.
that funding and stuff, and then, you know, they're looking to leave right now. You know, and of course, I mean, it's like, you know, but again, that's a little different, because again, too, you have persons who are interested mostly in business, psychology, and those kind of things. Yeah.
All right. But right now, for those who would be coming to the university later this evening, they would be more brought up to speed about travel issues,
Travel,
their
yes.
documents, and
All the
immigration.
documents, what is needed, the process. Basically, once you get your acceptance, once you get your acceptance from the university, we take it from there, and basically explain what you need to do in order to leave on time, to be able to start when the semester starts at the beginning of the year.
But aren't you going to be dealing with those persons, or aren't you inviting persons who might be looking forward next year?
Yeah, it's the
to
same.
be-
It is the same. It's basically
Would
the
they
same. It
would they
doesn't
get
change.
confirmation of the of schools that early?
No. One of the things, we said next year, if they're looking to leave, because they have people who leave necessarily may not leave in August or September. They may leave in January, December to go for January.
Okay.
And then they have the ones who are in the last year, and then may look to leave in August, September next year.
Okay. Those are the ones who could benefit from this
Yeah,
course.
all of them can benefit from it, because once you have the knowledge and you say, hey, listen, once I get my acceptance, once I do my exams, I apply to college, I get my acceptance, this is what I have to do, and these are the next steps I need to do in order to get my student visa in order to leave the island.
What kind of preparation you think those persons who come into the course this evening, how should they prepare themselves? What do they need to walk with?
Basically, they need to, if you have any questions that you think are valid, applicable, that applies to you, and that you may be of concerned about, you come with those questions, and then we go from there.
Obviously, so they should have well, most people use their phone to take notes nowadays anyway.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
come prepared to
To
write these
listen
things
and be
down so
come
that
with
you
an
can
open
know.
mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
All
if you
right.
and the thing about it is, sometimes people come and they sit down, they have a question, they don't want to say anything, and maybe somebody else have the same question.
Yeah.
So it's encouraged. I would encourage them to ask questions.
So do they? Do they have to leave? How about Canada getting visas for Canada? There's an embassy here.
No, there's no embassy here. As I said, everything is done online, but Canada can be a process, and there can be delays and stuff. So you have to take those into consideration, because once you apply to school, you get the acceptance letter. You have to go online and basically start the process of applying for your study permit. And once you get your confirmation, you're gonna need, for instance, a PAL, provincial attestation letter, all these things, in order to.
Who gives you that?
The school. You have
Okay.
to request from the school, or the school will request it actually from the province where you're gonna be studying. And once you have all those, you upload everything, and then once you upload everything, they're gonna send you a response and tell you, hey, you need biometrics. Once you need biometrics, you're gonna have to travel to one of the places where they got a Canadian embassy, a consulate, and basically do the biometrics.
So when you need biometrics and we don't do it here, you say
No,
where else can they get it done?
they can get it done.
When they
can
go
get
to Canada?
Guyana, Santo Domingo, Trinidad and Tobago used to do it too. Some people went to the States. I heard Puerto Rico. I'd have to confirm that. Different places they have the Canadian consulate or embassy.
So basically, it's an electronic version of you.
Basically, you have to walk in, and then they're gonna scan your face and
Yes.
your 10 fingers, and that is basically sent off to the immigration authorities.
That is handed over to the students too,
No,
if they
they
go
not-
somewhere else to
they-
get it done.
That's not handed over to them. That's actually submitted to the immigration authorities, and then they get confirmation that they've gotten everything is in order. And once they get a letter that everything is in order, they can buy their ticket and go to Canada. When they go into Canada now is when their passport is stamped.
Yeah, biometrics is can be intimidating. So it's good that they know, because it can make you feel funny if you have no idea what the heck is going on.
Yeah,
Taking fingerprints of all your fingers,
yeah.
then they're scanning your image.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're doing. That's a part of their process. I mean, you go into another country. I mean, here we have our own processes here too.
Yeah.
But we have to respect other person's countries. I mean, it's like we are when we go there, we're just visitors. Huh?
Why would we want to become an international student in someone else's country though, for education? That got to be really important, and then it costs so much money.
Yes, I mean it is. But again, as when they come to the realization, hey, I'm not here for playing jokes
Yeah.
and to fool around.
Yeah.
And they make a conscious effort to be successful or finish the program that they're doing. Then that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah. It's a lot of things to process, and it's a lot of things to go through.
Yeah, because
And that's why we need to really take education seriously
yeah.
and have this discussion at home rather than last minute deciding, unless they have family members who are in these countries, because that
But
can make the process a little bit
it
easier.
can make the process a little, but it depends on the type of family member. Because don't forget, when you have family members in certain places, the family members may adapt to the norms and values of that society. They may change and may not look at how we look at our family members here. And that
But at
can
least they will get some
create issues.
assistance,
It creates
don't you think?
issues too. It may get assistance, but there's always a cost. You
Yeah.
know. And like I tell students, I mean, it's like, when they come by me and they say, hey, listen, I'm going there because I got family. I mean, I say, how close are you? You know, because again, that is all makes a big difference. Because family members might be just seeing, hey, this person come here, this person's a cash cow, this I will get monies from this person. See opportunity, and rather than as a student looking to make something of themselves. Yeah.
Well, in that sense now, would you say it's better to go to the Netherlands maybe to study?
No, the Netherlands, and they have their qualms too. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it's like if you go to the study in the Netherlands, for example, a 4-year program is a 4-year program. You can it's very constrained in terms of, you say, for instance, in the U.S. you go to study, you can finish sooner because you take more classes. But when you go, the cohorts or the program is structured so that you have to follow the program as it is. So, and of course it means that housing is one of those big issues in the Netherlands too. Because if you find that, for instance, somebody may renovate their apartment or whatever it is, and they don't want to rent to some, because it's not like here where the renter would decide, I'm taking an apartment. Over there is the landlord decide who they're renting to. So those are kind of things that you would have to take into consideration. So it for everybody, you have to always weigh when they come into me and they say, hey, they're going to this place, they're going to the place. Why are you going to this place? Is it really panning out or really balancing out?
And when they come to you, your department don't provide, well, you probably would give information on where to when it comes to study financing. But they are more, when they come to you, they're more about what are they looking for? Just advices
They
to.
typically looking for, when they come to me, they typically looking for to finding and applying to schools or career guidance.
Okay.
And in terms of
What
when
they
they
want to
make a
do.
choice that they
Yeah.
make, is it the right one, and how they gonna go from where they are to get into that career and all those things.
Okay, okay,
You
okay.
know.
So that's the service
Yeah.
your department
Yes.
provides.
Yes, we provide, like, for instance, we do career assessments. We provide resume assistance with resume cover letters and all those things too. If they want to go into the job market, there are different things that we do.
Okay. But for applying to schools,
Applying
you
to
give
schools,
that too as well?
mostly, as I said, career guidance and looking and finding schools, and also to the other processes that go along with it, like the visa and the study permit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You can use this last minutes that are available to us to invite those persons who can benefit from these courses
Yeah.
to come and be a part of what you
Yeah,
are
I like
having later
parents
this
to
year.
basically encourage their children, their neighbors, their cousins, whoever they know is interested in going to the U.S. and Canada to study, to come out to this workshop. Is entitled "Applying for U.S. Student Visa Canadian Study Permit." It's going to be held tonight at the University of St.Maarten, and it's free of charge. It's from 6 to 8 p.m.
No fees attached. That is provided by government free of charge.
Yes,
And
that's
the
correct.
important thing is for them to be prepared so that things can go smoothly when they're ready to leave.
That's correct.
And you maybe you want to talk a little bit in closing about the additional fees that are now part of the process that makes it important for them to
Yeah.
be there.
One of the things, I mean, is that before they didn't have the visa integrity fee. Now that's an addition. The service fee is $350. The processing fee, visa processing fee, is $185. So
That's gone past 5 already, right?
Yeah. So it adds up. So of course, it means like and you still have to buy the ticket to go to Curacao
Country, yes.
or Barbados if did you choose to go to Barbados
Oh,
to
to
do
get the visa.
just to get the student visa.
Uh-huh.
So and when you get there, you still have to pay for lodging or if you don't have family there too.
Which
So
is better, going to Curacao or going to?
most of our students go to Curacao.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it's an individual choice, and the awareness is key.
That they know what they're up against.
Yes.
And maybe you could use the moment to tell people, boy, this is a very important undertaking. This is not a joke. You really have to take your education seriously if you're going to go through all of these process in order for you to at least get to a school where you want to go.
When you say that, that's why I encourage students to be there, because sometimes what the students do, they send their parents, and they let the parents deal with whatever it is. If the students immerse in getting from where they are to where they want to be, it makes them more prone to want to be successful and work harder. Rather than just sit back and everything is done for me. I'm spoiled. I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to frustrate myself.
But going for the visa, don't they have to be the ones going to the embassy for the visa?
That is correct. Even anyone going for a visa, if you're 15 years or older, you're going in by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're going in,
No one can do that for you.
You have to go. You're going to go to a folder. You can't go with your bag and what have you. You go to a folder, your documents, and you go into the interview. And this is something that they have to be able to represent themselves.
Yeah.
So of course, independence matters. We have to teach our children to be a little more independent.
Yeah.
Especially when it relates to these type of matters.
And what about the social media issue?
The social media issue is one that not so.
You're
bad,
going to
but-
bring that up in
Of course, I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, too, they sometimes they put a bunch of stupidness out there, but again, too, they figure nobody's going to find it and all that.
For
But,
visa, do they pay attention to that at
Sorry?
all? Do you have to submit your Facebook page or your IG page or anything like that when you go for your visa?
for your student visa, when you fill in the forms,
Oh,
you
the
have
other-
to indicate that. Yeah,
Wow.
on the
So everything is
DS-160.
spelled open.
Yeah, on the DS-160, you have to indicate that. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So,
People need to really take this thing serious and stop playing around on social media. And the kind of language and how they write on social media as well.
it all, it's an individual choice, but, it's recommended that they, straighten up. I mean, it's like, you have to realize that we're all young once. We sometimes do foolishness. But again, too, we live in a different time. And, of course, you're judged by these things.
Yes. Wow. Mr. Chance, you have your hands full as far as outside of one's home, where they're brought up and trained a certain way,
Yeah.
in helping them to stabilize themselves as they pursue whatever line of study they want to, and especially when you're going to be an international student
Yep.
in a country that is not connected to us really.
Yeah. And one of the things to me is that when you're being an international student, some people tend to shine, some people tend
Yeah.
to excel.
Yeah.
And they tend, because you're on that stage, you're representing not only yourself, you're representing where you come from too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we underestimate them, and they shine,
Yeah.
really shine, really
And
stand
that-
out.
That's why when I see, for instance, graduation pictures and stuff being posted and stuff like, I feel good about it.
Yeah,
No matter who they are, I mean, so I'm happy for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they start out here as a timid,
Individual.
reserved kind of person,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you see a very different person.
That
when
is
they
correct.
get
I've,
into
I've,
a different
I've had
environment.
a lot of those. And I've had people coming to me, it's like, crying and what have you. And, all this. But when I see them after, it's like, wow, is that really the same person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Downside, upside, it happened both ways. Okay, folks. So again, if you have family members who can make use of this service and are traveling to both Canada or the United States to further their studies, and they have not yet, prepared themselves, there are some information that you can make use of please go out to this workshop that is held by the Student Support Services Division. They would provide you with all the information you need about your travel document, about immigration, and all the requirements. And then things would just go a lot smoother as you make your way towards your future in education. Thank you a lot, Mr. Chance.
Thank you.
Any final thing that you have to add in?
I think I've pretty much said it, but
Okay.
again, I would like to encourage parents to encourage their children, their neighbors, their friends, whoever they know are interested in going to the U.S. or Canada to study, to come out to this workshop. It's going to be held from 6 to 8 at the University of St.Maarten. You can go to our Facebook page, Student Support Services Facebook page, scan the QR code and register, or you can call 543-1235 to register, or email us at studentsupportservices@stmartengov.org.
Well said. All right, folks, that's going to be the final word for today. I want to thank you so much for your support and for having listened. Hopefully, you can make use of this information and pass it on to those who can make use of it. That's it for today. We will be back tomorrow, God's willing. So let me say goodbye as we head over to the newsroom. First to Master Control and then over to the newsroom. You take care of yourself, folks. Goodbye.